Welcome into Lombardi's Legends podcast. I am Wags, and in a very special 200th episode, not only am I joined by my co-host Dane, but we've got some awesome Packer fans, the best in the business in the house. Matt Ramage is here. You may know him from the Matt Ramage Show, live on Facebook and YouTube. We've got the Drew Cave, the best Packer cave in the business. Wish I could be there every Sunday. And then, of course, we've got Tom Burns from the Green Bay house up in Green Bay. And that's the best number one spot to do a tailgate if you're going to the game. So, guys, thanks so much for joining us tonight. So excited to have you on.
Yeah,
Thank you. Congrats, guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we just want to talk some Packers tonight, and we'll get to some offseason chat, maybe some prognostications on what we think we're going to do with our quarterback. But really, before we get too far into that, I want to hear your guys' story. So, what is your Packer origin story, or what's your earliest memory of being a Packer fan? So I'm just going to tee that up, and Dane, maybe you can warm us up to give our guest a minute to think about that. But what is the origin story for you as a Packer fan, just looking back?
Yeah, so I'm 37 years old, so I remember the tail end, that those early 90s were kind of my entrance as a Packer fan, where I actually became aware. My first jersey was a Brett Favre jersey circa 93, 94. I got bullied at school for wearing it because all my classmates said that Favre sucked. How far things have come since then. But I remember the Don Majkowski years, some Sterling Sharp. And then, we got lucky. We got fortunate. Ron traded for Brett. We got Brett to come in, and the rest is history. And it's been just a journey of, 30 plus years of really great moments as a Green Bay Packer fan, Wags. And I'll tell you what, we got the best fans in the world, and we got some of the best fans tonight. So I'm excited to hear from all three of our great guests on what makes the Packers special and what brought them into Green Bay Packer fan lore.
Yeah. So Matt, hey, I want to turn it over to you, man. What have you been a lifelong Packer fan from day one, or what was that origin story? What was the earliest moment you can remember?
First of all, I want to give a congrats on 200 episodes. That's actually tough. I quit my first time. But,
thanks, Matt.
But I was born in Green Bay, so like in my house growing up, being a Packer fan, like there wasn't a choice. We had a Bear fan like next door, and like my mom, like they wouldn't let him come over on Sundays because that was the '80s and they were good then. The Packers sucked, and like my uncles would come over. They would bet on like first downs because they couldn't bet on the game because the Packers weren't going to win. So they would like throw 20s down. They're going to get a first down rate to just try to make the game exciting. Yeah, I've been a Packer fan like my whole life. Like you mentioned, Brett Favre and Don Majkowski. Like I remember having this old 7 jersey, and we'd play football out in the snow at halftime. And I remember like complaining about Favre, like, oh, he's taking Don Majkowski's job. Like Don Majkowski's the man. Like like he was the magic man. All this, and then it ended up working out. We were wrong, surprisingly. But I've been a Packer fan like my whole life. Like my whole family was a Packer fan. All my uncles, like all my family. So like, if you were anything other than a Packer fan in my family, like you would have like been homeless. Like my wife has a story that her and her brother got in a fight, and he was like, the Packers lost. She was complaining about it, and then he's like, it's just a game because he's not a big football guy. And she locked him outside in his underwear. And that's what it's kind of like growing up in Green Bay. I mean, like anywhere, like if you're like brought up a Packer fan or a fan of any team, if it's like through your whole family, it's more important than anything. You know what I mean?
For sure. That's awesome. Tom, what's your story, man?
Yeah, so I'm 35, so I was kind of right with you guys. I was like the tail end of I was 10 when they won the Super Bowl, 97, 96 season. So it was just I remember that a little bit. I remember playing ball in the yard when they were, the divisional game against the Niners. I remember that NFC Championship, probably more so than the Super Bowl, to be honest. But I remember my stepdad coming in our room. This is a vivid memory the year Ray Rhodes was hired. So after that last Holmgren season, and I remember him coming in and saying, "We got Ray Rhodes," and or we hired Ray Rhodes, whatever. And since then, it's like I remember vividly watching every game. But it wasn't kind of until that Ray Rhodes season that I remember being like really invested in the Packers in a big way. And yeah, so for me, then the Favre years towards the latter half of his career, the Raiders game. I think when everyone kind of just endeared themselves to Brett Favre in the 2000s, even though we weren't going to Super Bowls, you kind of just fell in love with Favre and the Packers, and that was kind of my initial era there through the late 90s, early 2000s.
I love it, man. That's so good. The Ray Rhodes era, the one season era of Ray Rhodes. That's a deep cut. Drew.
My first game too. My first game was in Green Bay against Philly. So they were playing the Eagles, Ray Rhodes' old team. But yeah, that was my first time up in Lambeau too. Was that season?
Yeah, I think the leading rusher was Derek Holmes that season, if my memory serves me. But hopefully nobody's fact checking that. So what a year to be alive as a Packer fan. Drew, so you've got an interesting story. You're from California. You're living in Ohio, and you've got this awesome Packer cave. So how does it happen for you to become a Packer fan, not being from Wisconsin? We're really curious about that.
Yeah, so at least for me, I tend to tell people that, I was born this way. I just didn't it didn't really come, it didn't come out until, like I was a teenager, like going into my 20s or whatever. Um, but my first memories were obviously the Super Bowl, back in 96. So at that time, I was like 16 years old. So, growing up playing sports and stuff like that. I mean, if you didn't like Brett Favre at that time, or if you didn't know who Brett Favre was, I mean, like, what were you doing? Especially as a teenager, right? Um, but I didn't really latch on until I joined the military. Like I was like in my 20s, and just like Tom was saying, what really hooked me was that game against Oakland with Brett Favre when his father had passed, and at that time I was stationed in Korea at the.
They're just having technical.
We may have muted from Drew. We'll get him back on here in a second. Um, well, I'm just going to jump in and not to make this self-serving, but my earliest memory is Brett Favre's first game against the Bengals, and that was a wild game, and it was just a lot of Sterling Sharp over the middle.
Hey,
And
my
for
fault.
those of you
You got
younger
me?
Packer fans, we got you back, Drew. We'll come back to you in a second. But
DJ.
talking about my earliest memory,
Hello? My
Brett
bad.
Favre's first game, the Magic
Man, I
Man
can't hear
goes
you
down,
guys. I'm gonna have to
and
leave, and
the
can I jump back
Bengals.
in?
Yeah, the Bengals have the lead, and a lot of Sterling Sharp, and we come back, and Brett throws the game-winning touchdown with under a minute to go. And I was probably only like 7, 8 years old at the time, but I didn't really know what was going on. But that was just crazy, and I was hooked from then on. So, a close second is definitely the playoff game. The next season against the Lions, we shut down Barry Sanders, who was just an insane player to watch. But
was that you guys, do you remember, was that the game where like Barry had like -3 yards?
-4 yards? Yeah.
I wasn't sure what it was. Yeah, but yeah, that was the one. Like I remember like just being so jacked because I'm a huge Barry Sanders fan. He's like the only player like in the Packers division that I will like salute. Like there's a lot of great ones, but I don't like to give him credit.
Yeah.
But like Barry Sanders was a guy like undeniable, like kind of like Favre, like back in the day, Favre, like how special he was. Like like you've seen the clips like Randy Moss. He was like, "This is Brett Favre." Everyone loved. Drew was mentioning it. Everyone loved Brett Favre. Brett Favre, I'll always say is like no other player I think in the history of the league, not Aaron Rodgers, not anyone, will be as loved as Brett Favre was. Like he was just like special, like everyone, like he was the old, regular fellow who just happened to play really good at football, and like everyone loved him. The Raiders fans made the signs, and they were all about him, and just like everyone across the league, like just loved Brett Favre, and he was just like everyone's uncle that you wish you had, and he was just like, dude, like, because he would like everyone talks about interceptions, but that's kind of what it was. Like he was just out there having fun, and like sometimes, he wanted to let everyone else have fun too.
And I gotta say, Reggie White coming back for the Super Bowl run after tearing his bicep, that was an insane thing. I mean, it's still unexplainable to this day, and that's why I'm convinced this season, when we got all those guys back from injury, that it was Reggie like healing all of our players. But it was, alas, it was not meant to be. I was totally convinced that the Packers were going to make that run. So, Drew, it looks like we got you back, man. So
my bad.
Yeah. So you were sharing a little bit about your story, and you were saying that the Favre game against the Rangers after his dad passed was kind of a big moment that you started to really follow.
Yeah, just piggybacking on what Tom had said. Yeah, that game was the one, at least for me, because like I was saying at that time, I was stationed in Korea, and that's actually where I met my wife. And I remember watching that game. At that time in Korea, it was probably like I don't know 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. But where I worked at, like we had a TV that got the broadcast, and it was just I don't know, man. I guess at that time, I mean, being 20, 21, 22 years old, it kind of resonated because just to have like that, I don't know, just the guts to go out there after a huge, devastation in someone's life, and just to go out there and just go ball. You know what I mean? Like for me, that really it really hit me, and just kind of drawing back on my memories, of him as a teenager, it really drew me, to the Packers. But then, my wife being, when I met her being, born and raised Green Bay, I mean, it just kind of made sense. You know what I mean? So I do give my wife a lot of kudos for turning me into this, but she knows that she's created a monster. So I mean, hey, her fandom. I mean, I tell everybody all the time, man. Like watching games with her it's almost as intense as, if not as intense as watching games with me, because she's crazy passionate, man. So. But yeah, that's how it kind of happened for me. And then, obviously being from Southern California, just, I don't know, man, my family and everybody in California is like everybody kind of rooted for everybody. I had family that was Cowboys fans, Rams fans when they were originally in LA. I had LA Raiders fans and, couple Chargers fans. And it was, everybody was just everywhere. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do my own thing. And now they all look at me like, man, you really about that life, and I'm like, yeah. I try to tell you guys. So yeah, so that's kind of my story.
Wags, I've got a question. I got to ask these guys because I mean, talked about it before we got started, but these are like some of the great fans of the greatest organization in football. A question for everybody. It's kind of a two-parter. Maybe we start with Tom with the Green Bay house. One, how often do you get to games? And two, what's your favorite game day experience you've ever had?
Oh man, we get to one game a year, so one home, one away is the plan. This year we were at the Seattle game, and then we went out to Arizona, which is unbelievable. Yeah, crazy experience. 60% Packer fans in that stadium at least, but so we only do one at home. The rest we stay at the house. So we're up. We were up, tailgating beforehand, and then we'll usually watch the game at the house and then hang out after. But best best tailgate or game day experience. It would have to be this year. This is the first year we had the house. We didn't, ever imagine what it would become on game day like it did. By the end, we had 60, 70 people coming through, and you can't really put a price on that experience. I mean, everybody knows what that's like and how special it is, but when you're that close to experience it on game day, you got guys coming down the street that have been going to games for 50 years straight, season ticket holders that come in and they tell you their stories and tell you about all the 70s and 80s they lived through and get into the 90s, and it's wild. So you get everything, and it's just a very special thing. But I'd have to say this year was probably that divisional game sucky ending, but we had a big blowout. We raised a bunch of money for Fisher House, so we did a big tailgate, raised over $4,500 for the Fisher House at the VA, and
Awesome.
just really blew me away. I mean, the generosity of Packer fans is unbelievable. People that we just met this year that just came and stepped up so big. So I mean that this year we had so many unbelievable experiences, but I'd have to say this season was one to remember for sure. And it was a lot of fun.
That's great. That's so cool to hear. And thanks for what you're doing for charity too. That's really cool that you're using that to help other folks out. Matt, how often do you get into games? What's your game day experience like?
Well, I actually didn't start going to games really until I was an adult. When I was a kid in my family, they didn't bring kids to games. Like, we're not wasting tickets on this little bastard. Right? So, as a kid, I didn't go to any games. But, like, as an adult, I didn't really go to, like, a ton here and there. So I'm like, hey, we got a ticket or whatever. We'd go to a game. But as I started doing, like, this, the social media stuff, I started going. Like, 2019, I went to 4 games. I think Drew was one of them. I went with Drew.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Drew hooked me up. 2019.
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me that hooked you up, man. That was Frank.
Yeah. I went with Drew and Frank, and that was actually one of the funnest games I ever went to. Actually, I would say it was the funnest, but that Niners game was very close. Even though the Packers lost, dude, I had so much fun at that game. Like, dude, that game, because I was in an aisle row, first of all. Like, I was in an aisle seat, and that's just
the best.
special. Yeah. I was in row 3, aisle seat. Senor Cheesehead, I could have, threw a football at him.
You should have. Tell him to sit down.
Because I've been in sections in Lambeau that weren't like that lit. You know what I mean? They weren't like, you sit there and people, I don't know. I don't know to trash people, but like certain people aren't as entertaining.
They're telling you to sit down when it's fourth down, right? Yeah.
But the people I was with, everyone was up, everyone was cheering. I was live on Facebook. They're having I was drunk. I was drinking for a long time before that, and it sucked how it ended, but it was a good group. But yeah, so 2019 though, I was 4-0 going to one of the Packer games, and I went to the Bear game that year. I was in the up top. It was cold, so I was watching everyone. And I was everyone's freezing. But yeah, like usually though, my game days lately, I do those. I go live during the games. I do not really play by play, but I kind of I drink beer. People watch me watch the game, whatever. I don't know why people watch, but they do watch. People watch, and it's fun. I don't know. Yeah, that's basically what I've been doing for every away game now. Like for home games, I try to go. I don't always get to go, but doing the live streams is really fun because it's almost like you're at the game, or not only at the game, but you're just hanging out. Like Drew has it real life. People come to his house and they're all, they got the Drew cave thing going, and that's kind of how my live is. I read comments, I put them on the screen, I interact with people, and we watch the game together. I wouldn't say play by play, but I kind of just talk about what I see, because a lot of people don't get to watch the game, where they live, the game isn't on, or they just don't want to hear who's talking. And they kind of put me on, and it's kind of weird. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't want to listen to me talk. But that's kind of what I do. If I'm not at the game, then I'm live on Facebook and all the places, and just screaming. And next year, I actually have a a huge bar that wants me to come and do like a live show at their thing.
Sick.
And we're gonna do it for a benefit, try to raise money for a charity at the time. This is like a particular bar that does that a lot. They have benefits. They have bands that come and they do a lot of different things, and they raise money for different type of benefits. And they asked me to do that for next year for a game. So I've never done a live show in front of like real people. You know, it's different. Like I'm in my little house. I'm in like a little room right
I'm
now.
coming to that, Matt. Let me tell you right now. I'm RSV. I need VIP tickets to that joint.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
gonna be
all
there for
coming
that.
to this, man.
I gotta be there for that one.
Yeah, it's actually like a pretty good sized bar. It's when they asked me, I was like, all right, we can do it. I was like, you realize I've never done that before. I actually my first live event that I'm doing, I'm going to a restaurant here in like my small town, and we're doing it's for veterans, raising money for it's actually their thing. It's not like my thing at all. It's their thing, and they're like, hey, would you want to go a live show as we're doing that? I was like, yeah, but it's definitely not my thing. It's just gonna be my live show, and then I'm probably gonna have some of them come on. We're gonna talk Packers, talk about like what they do, and we're gonna try to raise money, but it's definitely not anything to do with me. I'm just like a side note of what they already had going on. But yeah, I like what Mr. the Green Bay House is doing there, like raising money, like doing good. I think that's what we should be doing is like if you have a certain amount of following, a certain amount of people listen to you, you should try to use that like benefit stuff because like especially what I do, like I'm just a clown who like you know I just most of the stuff I do I just talk trash, I just run my mouth, and I think if I can use it like for good, and I mean it sounds like so
Yeah.
but you know what I mean, like I think if you can do good and have fun at the same time, I think it's awesome.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool. That's really awesome that y'all are using that, you know, do good, right, where we can. Drew, I know you're in Ohio. So how often are you getting on a plane and heading to Green Bay or doing the road trip thing and
More than I
Lambeau
am.
Field?
More than I am, I think. This guy's in town. Seriously.
I think more than me too.
Probably more than all of us combined, maybe.
I live there and he's up there more than
Hey, Dane, man, I appreciate you like repeating the question because Matt like just went totally off target, so I just totally forgot what the question was. But thanks for bringing me back on track, man. I appreciate that. Love you, Matt. So for me, I mean, look, this year was crazy for me. Ohio, where I'm at in Dayton, Ohio, it says like if you put it in Waze, it says it's about an 8-hour drive. Depending on traffic, my best time up to Green Bay, like door to door, I made it in 6 hours, 38 minutes. No big deal. I wasn't doing anything crazy. There just wasn't any traffic, right?
Yeah,
so
cruising.
Anyway, so yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know, had a little Dre and Snoop going on in the back and just riding out. But no, I mean, normally I make it up in about 7.5 hours. So it's not a huge drive for us to go up. So this year was actually really crazy, man. I think I ended up hitting 6 games this year up at Lambeau. Damn near almost, you know, like being a season ticket holder. But I did go to one away game, and if you guys have heard me in the past, I don't do away games. The reason being I am 0-8 lifetime regular season at away games. I've seen them win twice in a preseason, you know, but that doesn't matter at an away game. Regular season, I'm 0-for. So I know we have some trips planned next year for Miami and I think like Washington, and I'll probably go, but not actually go to the game. Like I'll go party with everybody, but I do not plan on going to the game. Just because I'm superstitious, man. Like just, I don't, yeah. So
Yeah,
I like it, man. We'll keep you away from it. Yeah, go hang out.
They're like, Drew, you are not invited to any more away games. And I'm like, all right, I told you guys I didn't want to go this year to Detroit, but everybody insisted that I go. Whatever, it's your fault. But no, I mean, normally I try to get up at least to a couple of games up at Lambeau. And, you know, now that I'm retired and stuff like that, I mean, it's a little bit easier. So as long as I can get, you know, my ticket plugs to get me my seats, then I'm gonna be up there. But then the second part of that question, my favorite, like the most memorable game day experience, at least for me, I got to go back to the 20. It was the 2011 season. No, was it 2011? No, 2013. 2011, 2013. Man, I got to look at the ticket stub. Anyways, it was a home game against the Raiders, and we destroyed the Raiders. I think Ryan Grant, I don't know what he ran for, but I think the final score was like 55 to like, or 50 something to like 10 or something. It was crazy. I want to say, was it 12 or 13? Anyways,
That's gonna bother you all night.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's crazy. And it's crazy because I keep looking over here because my bathroom's over there, and I have a frame with like all my ticket stubs, and I know, like, I know it's in there. Oh, it's gonna bug me. Anyways, but that game was really special because my wife Kelly and we were brought at the time. That was when they used to do Operation Fan Mail, when they used to bring out the people that were active duty, whomever, serving or whatever. They would bring them out on the 20-yard line during pregame, during like when the players are getting announced and stuff like that, right before the national anthem, and kind of tell the story about what you've done in your career, whatever, whatnot. And my wife Kelly and I were we were chosen to go on there. So we brought one of our friends that was he was deployed with me in Iraq back in 2008, and then I also brought my father-in-law on the field with us too. So that was kind of surreal, being on the field during warm-ups, watching the players come out for player introductions, and then hearing the PA announcer talking about my wife and I's accomplishments at that time in our careers. And just it was crazy because just like being there on field and just hearing Lambo like start like chanting USA, USA, like that, man, it still gives me goosebumps. And then right after that, they went into the national anthem.
Awesome.
So I don't know, other than me, I don't know, catching a pass during a game. I don't know if anything's ever. I don't think anything is ever gonna top that game day experience for me. So yeah, so that's my number one. But anytime I go to Lambeau, to be honest with you, I always create just memories that I'll cherish until I die, man. So yeah.
I
That's
was gonna
sick.
say, like, number 2 has to be when I was with you.
No, actually, you know what, Matt? Number 2 is actually when I got a chance to go back on field and hold the flag during the national anthem just as a guest. So,
That's
but
sick.
number three is probably the Broncos game with Matt, my buddy Frank,
Watching me puke.
our buddy Ben. Dude, we had really good seats, 50-yard line, and it was a blast. And let me tell you, if you ever get a chance to watch a game with Mr. Matt Ramage,
Mm-hmm.
that dude is so Hollywood, bro. Just get away from him, man. Everybody wants to take pictures with this guy, and he's doing the googly eye things, taking pictures, and unless you want to sit there and be his photographer for the day, which I walked away. I was like, nah, man, I got to go get some beer, bro. So.
Hey, Drew, real quick, we've got fact check here. Our buddy Timmy says it was 2011.
It was.
Packers 46-16.
I thought it was 50 something. That might have been the 50 burger that we put on. It was against the Titans, and that was the game that I was able to hold the flag during the national anthem. Didn't get introduced and all that stuff, but I was blessed enough to get the call from a plug that I had at the Packers at that time to come and hold the flag. But yeah, that was the time we put the 50 burger. But yeah, it was damn near close.
Yeah.
Yep, damn near close.
And Drew,
Thanks.
I got to
Thanks,
say, that's dedication that you're sacrificing away game attendance for the good of the team. But anytime the Packers have number 1 seed wrapped up, bye wrapped up, you're free to go to as many away games as you want. So the Detroit game
Wags,
notwithstanding,
thank you, Wags.
we're not going to hold that one
Thank
against
you.
you, man.
Thank you, Wags. Man, look, that's what I thought in my mind, because to be honest with you, that's the only reason why I went to that game, because we had it wrapped up. That game didn't matter, but I still caught flack from everybody. All my homies that I went to the game with, they were just drilling into me after the game. We knew we shouldn't have brought you. We knew we shouldn't have brought you. And I'm like,
Because nobody wants to go to the game and watch the loss.
especially to the Lions, man. Especially to the Lions.
Yeah, it's a preseason. Doesn't matter if it's what it is. Nobody. when you go to the game, like if you feel like you paid for a win. Like I paid money for this. I'm paying $9 a beer, whatever in Detroit it is.
Matt, when's the
Like,
last time you paid for a damn game ticket? Liar.
actually haven't in a while. People, just, I don't know.
I'm telling you, he's Hollywood. He's Hollywood. So.
Sounds like it. Damn. Wait, Wags, I think we're talking money here. We got to pay our bills. Is this a good time to do our promo quick?
Before we go to a break, just to tease for you guys to think about, I want to have one more just kind of fan-related question coming out of the break. Then we're going to talk a little bit of off-season Aaron Rodgers. But your favorite piece of memorabilia, Drew, I know that's going to be a tough one for you, but you might have to get up and kind of walk over to whatever one you're thinking of. But let's hear from our sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NFL. And Dane, all season long, you've been keeping us up to date on how your wife Andrea has been doing in daily fantasy on DraftKings. Football season's over. So it's time for her to parlay her winnings and start maybe making some fantasy bets in NBA, getting ready for March Madness. What do you say?
I mean, I don't know about all of that. I won't be able to give her too much advice. I told her all year, ride AJ Dillon train as long as we can, and that helped her out an awful lot. So now, Wags, I think we're going to turn to Giannis. We're going to turn to the Milwaukee Bucks. But I'll tell you what, folks, we use this promo code TPPN, and she's been up more than she's been down this year. Football's over, as Wag said, but you're right. We're going right into the NBA. We're having a great time doing it. And she's just getting started on some basketball. She's been reading the fantasy online articles. So I think we've created a monster in the best possible way, thanks to DraftKings Sportsbook.
For sure. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TPPN. Bet just $1 on any NBA team and get $150 in free bets if they win. That's promo code TPPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 or older minimum age and location requirements vary by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for a full list of requirements and state-specific responsible gaming resources. Void where prohibited. Minimum $5 deposit. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Tennessee, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. In Connecticut, call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. All right. So I tease this, gentlemen. I don't know who wants to lead this off. I'd say I'm not a huge memorabilia guy myself. We can see some great memorabilia behind some of y'all. I do have a signed Brett Favre helmet. It's not on display right now. I also have a game football from Super Bowl 45. So those are my two pieces. I need to get a shelf or something so we can see it behind me. But, it's not bad, but I know it pales in comparison to what you guys can throw out there. So, Tom, do you want to lead us off? What do you got for your favorite piece of memorabilia?
I'm not a huge memorabilia guy either. In fact, somebody was cracking on me on Instagram that I needed more jerseys and stuff hanging in the garage. And I was like, dude, I just renovated this whole garage. Take it easy. It's been like a few months. I'll get them up here. Don't worry. But I got a Donald Driver, Brett Favre side-by-side framed jerseys, double framed. That's got the dynamic duo across the middle with their I think they're rookie cards. Or just some early cards, but it's a very cool piece. Just very unique. So that's probably mine for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah. Matt, what do you got, man? What's your favorite piece?
I'm actually not a huge memorabilia. I can't even say a word. I never was a collector, but I have a helmet behind here, which we'll talk about in a second, but my favorite piece is probably Clint Dick's jersey. He came to my house, did the podcast. He signed a bunch of stuff. He signed this mini helmet right here. And is my guy. And he signed two jerseys. He signed the Packers jersey. Then he signed the Washington jersey, which I have in a dresser drawer because I can't display non-Packer stuff in my house. But I appreciate that he signed it. I like that it's there. I know where it is. But he signed it. He got the googly eyes on it. But my my favorite player is Paul Hornung of like all time. Just 'cause I love his story. I'm not that old. I didn't watch him play, but Tom Grassi, like Tom Grassi, people see him on YouTube. He's like the Packer fan of YouTube. He actually sent me this. It's Paul Hornung says the Golden Boy on it. I actually love this thing, but I actually don't. And I have actually in old football. I used to like unload milk trucks, you know, like for my job. And this guy's like, "Hey, if you help me unload this like some kind of garage he bought, you know, the people buy storage stuff. He's like, help me unload it. I'll pay you." I'm like, all right. So I was helping him unload it, and there's a football in there signed by Jerry Kramer. It's all beat up. It's probably not worth nothing. It's all like, like people played with it, like beat the hell out of it. But it was cool. I was like, hey, can I have this old football? Nobody's gonna want this. He's like, yeah, whatever. And so I got this old football. There's a bunch of autographs. Some I don't know, but I think it's cool, even though it's probably not worth anything. But that's about all I have.
That's
Everything
pretty cool.
I have is like right behind me. And
That's
Chris
great,
Farley.
man.
Chris Farley, bro.
Yeah, his birthday was yesterday. Yeah, Farles.
Yeah, you know, Drew's watched me. He's like, this dude ain't got shit. He's got like, no, but I'm not like I know a lot of guys like growing up that would like hang out by Lambeau Field, just like begging players, sign this. that wasn't really like my thing, but like I think it's cool. Like other people who have it. First of all, I don't have the space in my house, but my son just moved out though, so I got this whole room now. Like. He's in college. His bed is really right there. The camera's on his bed. And I'm clearing all this out. He got his own apartment, but so maybe I'll get some stuff. But like for right now, I don't have a ton. You know, I want to save some time for Drew. He's gonna have a long thing to say.
Yeah, what do we got, Drew? What do we got in there? I mean, what don't you
I
have?
gotta say, Drew, what do you got, baby?
Well, I'm not really that big into memorabilia.
Meanwhile, the background for those that are listening on iTunes.
No, but I mean, like,
talking, people are like, all right, shut up, guy. We want to hear from this guy.
no, like honestly, like for me, I mean, I don't know, my collection, like, I mean, I buy stuff that attracts me, like, certain players and stuff like that. And a lot of my stuff is retail. I have some game worn, game used stuff. That's not really my market. For me, it's more just, I want to have stuff up here that, for one, that I value, but for two, that when I do throw these parties and stuff like that, none of these drunk fools that come to my house are bashing into it and stuff like that. So, I try to stay, pretty particular, but, and I have like the Lambeau Field club seat that, I was able to get at the tent sale not too long ago and things like that. But to be honest with you, I was just looking around, trying to rack my mind on like what my favorite piece is. And I mean, I guess it's kind of like, now that I think about it, I mean, it's not really like a Packers piece of memorabilia, but I mean, it's my shadow box from my retirement, from when I retired from the Air Force. The reason why how it ties into being, Packers is my unit. They knew that, hey, when they first met me, they knew that I was all about the Packers. They saw my office when they walked in. All my junior enlisted, all my enlisted folks that I worked with, all the senior enlisted, everybody that used to come in my office, they knew that, hey, I was a Packers fan, right? So when I was presented this, my shadow box for my retirement gift from my unit, my plaque, it says, go Pack Go, my name and rank and all that stuff. But then the really cool thing is that I have a coin that was placed in there. It's actually a silver dollar, but it has like a Packer backing on it. And normally you get those when, if as an enlisted person, whenever an officer gets commissioned, if you end up being their first salute, they give you a silver dollar. Well, my wife, when she got commissioned, I was her first salute, so she gave me that silver dollar. But it has it's Packers on the back, and so I gave that to my unit, and I said, I need you guys to make sure that this is in my shadow box. The way they did my shadow box is just it looks amazing, all my medals and all that stuff. But that coin is like just sitting there, just like it's like one of the first things you see when you look at that shadow box. So. As I was looking around, I was like, there's a lot. I mean, obviously, I have a lot of cool Packer stuff, Packer memorabilia and stuff like that. I mean, really great pieces, for collectors. But I mean, if there's anything I think going forward, I'm gonna have to say my shadow box, man.
Yeah.
I mean, my plaque, like I said, it says "Go Pack Go," and then I have that, that coin that just means the world to me from my wife. So yeah,
I love it. That's so one of a kind too, right? You're not finding that on
yeah, ain't
eBay.
nobody gonna have
Yeah,
that. You know what I mean?
I think
So
that's what it is. I mean, it's like the personal stuff. I mean, like stuff like you can get like, I mean, that's way more severe. Like my personal thing, but the reason that I like the haha thing is because he was at my house. Like
Right.
it's point to a memory. It's not the same as your thing because your thing is way more awesome. But like I think that personally, I think anyone who has like an autograph, even I think their favorite is probably going to be one that they were there, like that they saw.
Yeah.
And not that buying stuff isn't awesome because you
yeah.
bought a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
you
no,
bought a
I
lot of
mean,
stuff.
like, hey, just to piggyback off what Matt was saying, I mean, yeah, I mean, talking with a lot of collectors and knowing a lot of collectors in the game, I mean, yeah, you can always buy stuff retail. I mean, if you got the money, you could always buy stuff retail. But just like Matt was saying, I mean, it is cool. Like if you get the chance to actually have a conversation with someone, and then they sign something for you. Like in Matt's case, I mean, I remember watching the episode when Haha was at his house, and I think that's crazy cool. You know what I mean? Fortunately for myself, I mean, I was able to party and hang out with Brett Swain this past season. I didn't. This is the thing. I didn't press him for no autographs or nothing like that. If anything, Brett is gonna come through and we're gonna party. And I mean, because we just had a great time. I mean, he's just a down to earth dude. And so it's. I mean, as far as memorabilia, I mean, yeah. I mean, like I said, you could always go and buy retail pieces, or you could be on the hunt and find like these game worn, game used pieces out there that you got a photo match. But like Matt was saying, I think if you have a personal story behind something, especially with a player that you have a good relationship with, I mean those stories kind of outweigh a lot of them. So yeah.
So I want to be mindful of everybody's time here. I know y'all are busy, but I've got to ask, and Wags, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn here, but I got to get some Aaron Rodgers. Is he coming back? Isn't he coming back opinion? Because my God, everything is really contingent on will he, won't he, and then the Packers make decisions from there. So, Drew, I'm going to throw it right back at you, and then we'll go around the room. But you think Aaron's coming back? Why? Why not?
Being the optimistic fan that I am, I think a lot of the signs and a lot of the things that he said, up in, with his last couple of episodes on the McAfee show, I know a lot of people were trying to deep dive into his MVP speech and stuff like that. But I mean, if you watch his Zoom that he had with the Packer beat writers, I mean, there was a lot. I mean, it's really hard to dissect what Aaron Rodgers is thinking, right? But the fact that he's given a lot of kudos to Gutekunst and Mark Murphy and obviously Matt LaFleur and everybody in the organization, and the fact that he has said that he doesn't want to play for another team. He doesn't want to go, he doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild. For me, again, this is just me being, I guess it's just me being a homer. You can call it what it is, but I just don't think there's anywhere better for him to, if he's about his legacy. That's another thing too. As Packer fans, we don't know what his legacy is. Is he good? Because he's said it a couple of times. Is he really good with just retiring and walking away off of what he's accomplished to this moment? Who knows? Or in the back of his mind, is he really focused on his legacy in winning Super Bowls, getting to that next step? Because if that's the case, then his best bet is in Green Bay. Everybody keeps talking about the, going to Denver and all this stuff. What was the first thing that they talked about him going to Denver? Was because at the time, his fiance, Shailene Woodley, lived in Boulder, Colorado. Oh, he wants to go to Colorado because his fiance. Well, guess what? They ain't together no more. You really think that he's going to go to Denver for an offensive coordinator who did not call plays at all? Yeah, he was a great guy in a meeting room, in a coach's room, but I mean, really, like, and then you got to think about these teams that are going to, if they do go after Aaron Rodgers, what they're going to have to give up to get him. You know what I'm saying? They're going to have to, a lot of these teams are going to have to potentially sell the farm. So again, going back to what he said, if he goes to a new team, it's probably going to be depleted. In my mind, it's a rebuild. So I'm hoping Aaron Rodgers is listening to this right now. But yeah, I really think the best bet is for him to stay in Green Bay. There's been a lot of things that have been coming out recently too that I've been, just hearing, not in the national media, because I do not give two craps about what the national media says. I listen more to, the heartbeat of Packers fans, and the voice that we have out there, like Matt, and like those folks like that. But even with I just such a soap opera, because even with the Packers coming out and saying, hey, we're all in. We're all in. We want him to come back. We're willing to offer him all this money. It's like, at first you're like, yes, they're doing what they should be doing. All right, let's go. They're gonna make it happen. But then, like, for me, like, I think about it and I'm like, wait a minute. Are the Packers just doing this just to get out in front to us as Packer fans and Packer Nation, just in case Rodgers says, no, I want to leave? So the Packers organization doesn't look like they didn't do enough, because in the past they've never done anything like that. They've never been up front and put their business out the way they've been doing it, last week with Aaron Rodgers. So there's just, I don't know, man. There's just so many factors, and hopefully Rodgers is seeing that, he's taking the Packers for, their word for what it is, and hopefully he makes the decision to come back. I think if it's about winning, he comes back. I think if it's about anything else, he goes elsewhere. I do not think he retires. Mm-hmm. I do not. If Tom Brady stays retired, there's absolutely no way in hell Aaron Rodgers retires the same year and wants to be the secondary speaker to Tom Brady at Canton during the Hall of Fame. There's no way that's going to happen, man. His ego's too big for that, man. Yeah.
Drew, the comment section is blowing up with people in agreement with you. They think he's coming back to Green Bay. Tom with the Green Bay house, where are you at on this?
First off, I think unbelievable job by Goody, Mark, Russ. I mean, the fact that they seemingly repaired that relationship. I don't think Rodgers comes out and says the things he did in his speech unless he was sincere. I just don't think he does that. And I think that was a genuine statement. And for them to go from where we started in the right before training camp, right, with that whole situation, to that speech and the MVP is pretty unbelievable. For them to turn the tide on that. So either way, from a Packer fan standpoint, you would have hate to have seen another Favre type debacle with a Hall of Famer walking out of your organization, disgruntled like that. If he does go, at least, it seems like they repaired that relationship with it, which is, I think, first and foremost, great for Packer fans and everybody, Aaron, the whole organization. But Tom Clements today, that was
huge.
Man, that was
huge.
wild.
Huge.
That was like a okay, you guys got Getsy, and Goody was like, well, check this out. Yeah. I'm bringing back Clements. I read today, I don't think Clements comes out of retirement to coach Jordan Love. He's not signing that contract.
Facts.
Unless he knows that Rodgers is coming back. I just don't see him coming out of retirement to do that. So, I think it's back and forth. It's like Drew said, it's the soap opera of, you hear today people, they're questioning whether he can win in the playoffs. And then all of a sudden you hear that Clements is coming back, and it's back and forth. And today that was a big deal. I think if you're on the fringe, if you're a Broncos fan or a Niners fan, you probably overlook that because you don't really understand the significance of that move. But Clements coming back, I think that's big time. I think it would be surprising to me at this point after that move if Rodgers wasn't back with Green Bay. And I think they're going to go all in. It'll be 45, 50 mil. It'll be the biggest deal of all time, biggest guaranteed money, because that's important to Rodgers. And I've said it before, I think him being in Green Bay is worth it. He's a two-time MVP. He's your best chance right now. So you pay him the money, bring him back, and I think it's heading that way for sure.
Oh man, I'm loving this. Can we do this every week, guys? Matt Ramage,
right.
what are you thinking, brother?
So anybody who follows me knows that this is a subject that I'm like really passionate about. Like I was just like a little girl is waiting for the jump rope to get in there. Dude, Aaron Rodgers is coming back. And dude, I'm so sick of like the Denver Bronco fans all last offseason. Like, Aaron Rodgers is going to the Broncos. And I trolled him all last offseason. That's not going to happen. And last offseason, it was more likely than this offseason. The last offseason, like, Rodgers was not happy with the Packers. It was, that was a real thing that happened. This offseason, he's over there, he's winning his award, like, good, we love you, bro. Whatever he's saying, shout out to the eyebrows, the floor. He's like, he's showing love. So, like, Aaron Rodgers come back. And then what he mentioned, Tom Clements, I think is so huge. You think he's coming back? He's coming out of retirement? Because, like, bro, Jordan Love, bro. He's gonna be awesome. And he's just like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, let's throw the golf clubs away. I gotta come back for this. No, because Aaron Rodgers, when he left, was not happy. That a lot of the coaches that left, it was documented that Aaron Rodgers was not happy. So like that is one of these guys, right? So like he's coming back. I think they're saying, Rodgers coming back. Let's get the gang back together. Let's go get this thing. Let's go do this thing. Dude, Aaron Rodgers come in, and I know a lot of people because I made a video about this earlier. No one watched it. But I made a video. And I was like, people talking about the cap space and the holding, that's way above my head. I'm not that smart. But you don't have to be the best team in the NFL, right? So Aaron Rodgers comes back. Yeah, we're going to lose some guys here and there, like whatever. And, I mean, not whatever, because it's kind of a big thing, because, But you don't have to be the best team in the NFL to win a Super Bowl. The Rams showed that. The Bucs showed that last year. The Packers were the best team in the NFL this year. Like, for pretty much the whole year. They were the power rankings, which I don't care about, but like just like overall, the Packers were the best team. I watched them. We all watched them. We went to games. Drew went to like 19 games this year. Like we all watched them. Like we had a good time watching. Like they were winning most of the game. I did my live show this year, and I was like, when they lost, I was shocked. I didn't know how to act. I was like, I don't know what to do here, because like I'm used to them winning, but like they don't have to win every single game. Like the Giants teams, that won those games. The Patriots, 2007, almost went undefeated. The Giants went in and beat them up. Right. You don't have to be the best team in the league to win the Super Bowl. So bring Aaron Rodgers back. They're going to the playoffs right away because Aaron Rodgers, that's what he does. He gets into the playoffs. He might win another MVP. But once you get to the playoffs, like maybe you have to fight a little bit. Because those teams that get like the 6 seed, the 5 seed, 4 seed, they've been in the playoffs for 3 weeks before the playoffs started trying to get into that thing. I mean, when you have the number 1 seed, maybe you're a little cocky. Maybe you're a little tired because, you had a bye week. When I have a week off, you know what I do? I sit on my couch and I watch Jeopardy. I don't know. I think Aaron Rodgers coming back to the Packers is the best thing for the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. If he goes to AFC, look at because they're not going to trade him to the Niners. Right. They're going to talk about
they're not going to
no chance.
Him in the NFC.
They're
absolutely
going to trade him to the Niners. Yeah, that's
stupid.
What you do. You know what I mean? They're not going to trade him to the team, first of all, that knocked him out of the playoffs, and second of all, a team that is one of the powerhouses, or one of the top tier teams in their conference. I think that they would, if they do have a trade for Rodgers, they would have a lot of picks, maybe some players. They would feel like, all right, we can make this thing go, but we're not going to strengthen one of our guys that might be able to knock us off. So then he's going to go to the AFC. All right, you got Joe Burrow, you got Patty Mahomes, you got like all these, a lot of these young, great quarterbacks are in the AFC. The Broncos, first of all, Bronco fans, I have nothing but bad things to say. I'm going to keep it clean over here. I cannot stand Bronco fans. And also, Bronco fans are just a soft bunch. I go on Twitter, I make a little statement about Bronco fans, I tweet a little tweeter, and then they're all over me. They're softer than Viking fans, and that's saying something. Because there's certain fan bases that you can just trigger very easily. I know that because I do it. That's what I do. But Bronco fans, they want so much. Dude, they're so desperate. They're begging. Then Terrell Davis says something. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, I see Aaron Rodgers coming to the Denver. And everyone's like, oh, and like all these ESPN and all these places are posting, oh, he thinks they're going to go. I was like, he has no inside information.
It's the same
He
thing. It's the
knows-
same thing that Mark Schlereth said last
Yeah.
year, and
Yeah,
he's a
dude.
Broncos guy too. So come
Yeah,
on.
they don't know anything, bro. And then someone was like, well, do you have insider information? I said, as much as they do, bro. Do you think that, you think Goot is calling, oh, let's find, we're wanting to break this out. Let's find some former has-been Bronco running back that we can break this to.
He's a Hall of
They
Famer.
don't know it. It's like their gut feeling. Yeah, I have a bigger gut, bro. So my gut feeling is he's staying. It doesn't mean it. That's like Don Mikowski coming out. I think Aaron Rodgers will stay. Yeah, that's fantastic. I love Donnie Mikowski. But, it's not going to sway my feelings about what's going to happen. But Bronco fans are like, oh, Terrell Davis, he was good in Super Bowl 32. What Super Bowl are we on, like 50-something? Doesn't matter, bro. He's not in meetings. And then they're like, oh, the Broncos are pushing hard for Aaron Rodgers. Are they offering draft picks? Because, if you're not offering picks, if you don't have an offer on the table, you're not pushing hard. You're just talking, yakking your gun, and they're not. Because it's not even them. It's just like some journalist who tries to make a name. He's on Twitter. He's like, I could just say this and that'll happen. You know what I mean? So these are not real stories. They're not pushing hard until you put out a draft pick. You know what I mean? I get heated, bro.
See, this is the
Man.
content,
Simmer
right?
down, man.
This is the content.
Fan
So
you off, bro. Golly.
this is the content that people tune in for, and we're coming up on an hour. Matt, where can folks find you on social media?
Everywhere.
Throw the handles out there.
I'm on Twitter at Matt Ramage. I'm on Instagram at Matt Ramage _ because there's another Matt Ramage who hates me. Facebook, Matt Ramage. I'm on TikTok, bro. I'm not dancing. Don't look for a dance. I'm not dancing. But yeah, if you search Matt Ramage on most of the places, look for the guy with the weird eyes, and that'll probably be me.
And Tom, the Green Bay House, where are we finding you?
Mostly on IG. This is our first. I'm just trying to learn TikTok, and I did get a Twitter handle, but I don't know.
Bro.
Hey, 15 characters kind of killed me on the Green Bay House.
Green Bay,
so
I got
you.
We'll dance. We'll get a TikTok thing going.
No, but hey, IG, and most importantly, you can find us on Canterbury Road over there. So
Sweet.
Anybody who's in town for a game, we have an open door policy. All are welcome, and you'll have a great time. So yeah, we hope this.
If
Yeah,
you're there, I'm gonna waltz in and just ask for you.
you just walk up the driveway, brother. Walk up the driveway.
We'll be seeing you next year. I'm certain of that, Tom. We appreciate you. And Drew from the Drew Cave, where can we find you?
Man, everywhere. Just type in Drew Cave, man. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
He's out there getting his dance on.
Yeah, I'll be crip walking out there, you know what I mean? But but yeah, I stay mostly active like on TikTok and Instagram. Twitter's a little toxic, you know what I mean? I know Matt's got a really big following on there.
I've been going hard on TikTok. I've been going to war with people on TikTok. Bronco fans, they're on TikTok or on Twitter. Not TikTok. Bronco fans are on Twitter. You even just say the Broncos suck on Twitter. Just do that. Every one of you. Just type out. You don't have to do hashtag nothing. Just write Broncos suck. See what happens.
Hey, if there's anything that I want to leave y'all with tonight is a quote from my man Matt Ramage. I got a bigger gut, and my gut feeling is that he's coming back. If you didn't hear that, I don't know what's going on.
We gotta make a meme of that.
You got to make a T-shirt, bro.
All right, we gotta make a T-shirt.
For sure. And guys, we thank you so much. I did put the IG handles in our chat. Everyone, please follow all of these gentlemen. You guys are all legendary in our hearts.
Appreciate it, man.
Drew, thank you so much for your service. Matt and Tom, thank you so much for everything that you do to make the Green Bay Packer community so beloved up in Green Bay. Just love it. Thank you all so much for coming on and sharing some of your time. Folks, we do have a special giveaway for our 200th episode that's still going on our social. We're giving away t-shirts. We're giving away canned koozies. So, our budget isn't unlimited. We're just doing what we can, but we appreciate you. So jump on, retweet us, follow us, do your thing, and we're going to get some free stuff away as well. So thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much, everyone. And as always, before we sign off, can we get a Go Pack Go? Go Pack Go!
Go!
Go Pack, go!
Drew's always late. He's always late.
Thanks, guys.